Hello everybody and welcome to another video. So, it's day 3 of the faction focus. And today, we're going to be looking at Gitz. The classic mushroom, squig riding, trog loving little menaces to the mortal realms. So, the Gloomspite Gitz are today's faction focus. And yes, these are the jolly little mushroom-loving, trog-supporting, squig-riding menaces to the mortal realms. So they're pretty much, if you like goblins, and you like squigs, and you like monsters like trogs and troggoths and river trolls, you're going to like these. They're pretty cool, and they've got some pretty cool rules. So let's have a little look at them. Their battle traits are quite interesting. So the big thing about the battle traits is that they have like sort of a moon that kind of follows them around. So basically, they've got a passive ability. So under the light of the bad moon. So basically affects during the battle an area of the battlefield will be the bad moon's location. So see the bad moon's orbit, all right, which is the once per the next bit. The bad moon will be either a quarter of the battlefield or the center of the battlefield. Okay. While the bad moon's location is in a quarter of the battlefield, all Gloomspite Gitz units, friend and foe. So if you're playing against Gloomspite Gitz in a mirror match, both of you are affected. Wholly within that quarter are under the light of the bad moon. All right. So while the bad moon's location is in the center of the battlefield, all Gloomspite Gitz units, friend and foe of the battlefield, are under the light of the bad moon. So if it's in a quarter, it's just that quarter of the table. If it's in the middle, it's the entire table. While a friendly Gloomspite Gitz unit is under the light of the bad moon, the appropriate effects are applied to it. So, you've got Frothing Zealots. So, if a unit is a non-squig Moon Clan unit, add 3 to its control zone. Cool. Control score. If it's a Lunar Squigs, if the unit is a squig unit, you can re-roll the random characteristic roll for its movement characteristics. Cool. The Moonlight Hid. If the unit is a Troggoth unit, add 1 to the save throws for it. And if it's a Spiderfang Venom, if this unit is a Spiderfang unit, its combat attacks have critical hits on unmodified hit rolls of a 5. So that's pretty cool. So once per battle round army, at the start of the battle round, you declare you must start this ability at the start of a battle round. So it's the first thing you do that battle round. If multiple Zoom players are playing Gloomspite Gitz, then you basically roll off and the winner gets to decide what happens with the moon. So if it's the first battle round, pick a quarter of the battlefield to be the bad moon's quarter. If it's the second or subsequent battle rounds, on a roll of a 1 to 3, the bad moon stays at its current location, and on a 4+, the bad moon moves. The first time the bad moon moves, it moves to the center of the battlefield. The second time it moves to the quarter diagonally opposite the quarter which it started in. So if you imagine the board, so you've got 4 quarters. If you start in this quarter, turn 1 you're here, turn 2 you're in the middle, turn 3 you're up there. Okay. The third time it moves to the battlefield that has no further effect on the bot than the third time it moves off the battlefield. So you basically go 1, 2, 3, and then gone. Okay. So it's a really kind of cool thing, and you're gonna play into that, and there is gonna be ways of being able to manipulate that with certain characters that we're going to be seeing shortly. So battle formations, aka detachments. Few beasts are as destructive as squigs, so of course there's going to be a battle formation built around the squig, because squigs are the main thing in this army. So Bouncing Fury. Effect each time a friendly squig unit charges, add 1 to the attack's characteristics of its fang-filled gobs, massive fang-filled gobs, or huge fang-filled gobs for the rest of the turn. Basically, that's the different size squigs with their squig mouth attacks. Okay, so you get +1 attack to that. So they've also got a spell in the hero phase, casting on a 7. You pick a friendly Gloomspite Gitz wizard to cast this spell and then make a casting roll of 2d6 until the start of the next turn. Subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks made by enemy units while they are wholly within 12 inches of the caster. So -1 to hit while being 12 inches, which is kind of good. I do remember this sort of being on one of the big spiders, and -1 to hit was really kind of annoying, and especially when you can sort of buff it as well. It made them really tanky, and especially I think you have netters kind of get you -1 to hit as well. So yeah, it's a very annoying army to fight. I've fought them quite a few times because my friend Peter has a Gloomspite army, and yeah, they're an interesting army to fight. So faction focus. Squig, the Loon King. He's got a save of 6, health of 6, move of 5, and a control of 2. And he has a stick. So his melee attacks is that Moon Onyx stick. So it's 4 attacks, hits on 3s, wounds on 4s, -1 rend, D3 damage with 0 abilities on this weapon. That's okay. So he has some pretty cool abilities outside of that. So once per battle, reaction, you declared the Bad Moon Orbit ability. So basically what this means is you choose whether the Bad Moon moves to the next location or stays in its current location instead of rolling the dice. So you bring Squig, you're essentially controlling the moon, which is one of the main things of how your army is going to basically work because of the battle traits. So he's going to be pretty important to some players who really want to play into the moon, really play into the theme of that army. So you've got your hero phase spell. So your spell, roll 2d6, cast on a 7. It has a range of 18. Roll a number of dice equal to the unmodified casting roll, which is that's just nuts. And for each 3+, inflict 1 mortal wound on the damage. That's nuts. So you roll 2d6. If you roll an 11 on the casting roll, every 3+ on that you roll the dice. Okay, 11 dice, and every 3+ you do mortal damage. Scary. So you get reaction. You declared it the redeploy command for a friendly Moon Clan unit wholly within 12 inches of this unit. Bubbling Winds. So effect. If you roll a 1 and 3 when determining the distance that unit moves, you can use the value of 4 instead. Okay. The guy's a War Master, a unique hero, Wizard 1, Infantry, and Ward 4+. And he's Destruction, Gloomspite Gate, and he's a Moon Clan. So, yeah. Good stuff. So, the Gobbapalooza is a 6-up save, 5-up move, 3 health, 2 control. And he has a weapon. He has his little staff of stick or jaggy blade, 1 attack, 4s, -1 rend, D3 damage. So he has a passive ability, effect. In the first battle round, this unit has a 4+ ward save. In the second battle round, this unit has a 5-up ward save. In the third and subsequent battle rounds, this unit has a 6-up ward save. Okay, not great, but there has to be something good here, right? Okay. The Gobbapalooza Watts, so your hero phase, effects. Roll a dice. On a 3+, pick one of the following effects. So just roll 1 dice and pick an effect. So you get to Glareface Dance, pick a friendly Gloomspite Gitz unit within this unit's combat range, add 1 to run rolls and charge rolls for that unit until the start of your next turn. So combat range is 3 inches. So if this unit is within 3 inches, you roll a 3+, you pick that unit and it adds 1 to the run rolls and charge rolls until the start of your next turn. That's pretty good. So nasty poisons, pick a friendly Gloomspite Gitz unit within this unit's combat range, again 3 inches. Add 1 to the rend characteristic of that unit's weapons until the start of your next turn. Nice. Interesting. Mesmerize, pick a visible enemy unit within 12 inches of this unit until the start of your next turn. That unit cannot use commands. That is so good. Like, the ability just to shut commands down, that's going to be really good. Especially in an edition where we're going to have fewer command points. And there's a lot more things going on where you can do stuff in and around your opponent's turn as well as your own. So to turn around and go until my next turn, you ain't doing shit with that unit. That's a good ability. I like that a lot. So will it be interesting to see if he sees play? But I would take him just for Mesmerize, because that's pretty good, solid. So the Squig herd. Now you can't do Gloomspite Gitz without Squigs. So they've got a 6-up save. They've got 1 health each, and they've got control of 1, and they move D6 plus 3. Okay, so as you can imagine, they're a mainstay unit for a Gitz army, unless you're going to go for the actual Moon Clan goblins themselves. So Fang-filled Gob is 3 attacks, hits on 4s, wounds on 3s, 1 damage, 1 rend, and it's a companion ability. Squig Prodder, it's 2 attacks, 5 plus to hit, 5 plus to wound, no rend, 1 damage. So each model in this unit is armed with a fang-filled gob. So all the squigs have got spiky teeth. 1 in 6 models is a squig herder and is armed with the squig prodder. Okay, he's not really going to fight. If your squig herder is fighting, something's gone terribly wrong because you don't really want him to fight. So passive. Each time a model in this unit is slain by a combat attack and that model was in combat with the attacking unit, roll a dice. On a 5+, inflict 1 mortal damage on the attacking unit after the fighting ability has been resolved. So each time a model in this unit is slain, you basically roll a 5+, and on a 5+, you inflict 1 point of mortal damage back to the unit after that ability has been resolved. So basically you're doing damage for when you get killed. Passive, it's a beast effect. This unit has a maximum control score of 1. Okay. Your hero phase, hurdling squigs. Roll a dice for each squig herder in this unit. On a 2+, you can turn D3 slain cave squigs to this unit for each 1. 1 squig handler in this unit is slain. Okay. So you're going to take quite a lot of squig herders, and that's how you're going to get your squigs back. But really, if you're going to be taking squigs, you're going to be taking them mounted, goblins mounted on them. So the Loonshrine itself, it doesn't move, which is a bit of a shame. I was really looking forward to seeing if the Loonshrine did move, just because it would have been really cool. A 4+ save, and it's got 14 health, and it has 0 control. So this thing is pretty much one of the coolest pieces of faction terrain in the game, I think, because it just looks so cool, and people do such an amazing job at painting it. I have seen some really, really quality Loonshrines in the local scene, so it's so good. So you've got Effigy of the Bad Moon. So effects, friendly Gloomspite Gitz units are under the light of the Bad Moon while they are wholly within 12 inches of this terrain feature. Amazing. So you're going to be able to do what the boon is giving you your army. So you've also got this ability here, which is once per turn army wide, end of your turn, and it costs 1 CP. So Moon Clan layers declare, pick a friendly non-hero, non-monster, non-war machine Gloomspite Gitz unit that has been destroyed to be the target, and then you set it up at half the number of models from a target, rounding up, wholly within 12 inches of the terrain feature and more than 3 inches from an enemy unit. So this is definitely a trend that this ability for 1 CP is turning up in armies. And it's not just one army so far. We've had it in Stormcast Eternals, we've had it in the Skaven, and now we've got it in Gloomspite Gitz. Interesting. So obviously it's faction terrain, it's a destruction, and it's a Gloomspite Gitz terrain feature. So it's pretty good. So obviously the studio, you've got a kind of army there. You know, you've got your goblins, you've got your mushrooms, you've got your squigs, and you've got your stone trolls. So obviously Spearhead's a thing, and they're going to have sort of slightly different rules for the moon. So in games of Spearhead, you pick a terrain feature, Pick a territory, either friendly territory or an enemy territory, to be under the light of the bad moon. If both Ks can use this ability, roll off. The territory picked remains under the light of the bad moon in the first and second battle rounds, and in the third and fourth battle rounds, the other territory is under the light of the bad moon. While a friendly unit is wholly within the territory of that is under the light of the bad moon, the appropriate effects apply. So Moon Clan Stabbers units add 3 to the control. Squig Hoppers, no mortal damage is inflicted on it while it uses the retreat ability. And Rotgut Troggoths add 1 to saving rolls for its roll. So obviously, Spearhead is built around the Vanguard, the Spearhead boxes. And I would imagine that that right there is the Spearhead box for the Gloomspite Gitz. Okay? So you're going to have 3 Troggoths. You're going to get at least, 10 Squig Hoppers. And you're going to get about 20 Moon Clans. And a leader, which is probably a Loonshrine boss. So yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, so never really noticed that's pretty much what they're going to be showing these articles of, showing us what's in the Spearheads. So we've got the Rock Truck Gorgoths, the classic stone trolls in plastic. They've got a save of 4, move of 6, 5 health, 2 control. They throw boulders at 10 inches with 1 attack, hits on 5, because it's a giant rock thrown by a troll. Hits on a 2, 2 rend, D3 damage. And then they've got massive stone mauls, so they've got 2 attacks, plus 4 to hit, 2 to wound, 2 rend, 3 damage. Solid. And they have regeneration, so at the start of your turn, they heal for D3 wounds for this unit. And they have a 5-up ward. So that's pretty good. Like, I can imagine that they're going to be, like I said, I think the Spearhead kind of gives us, until we actually see the proper faction packs, it kind of gives us a rough idea of what this unit is probably going to do in the bigger games, because these are like sort of streamlined type rule systems for the sort of, obviously, the bigger, for the smaller games. So tomorrow we'll be looking at the ghouls, as well as the Eye of the Ethereal Nighthaunt, the legions of tortured souls forces that serve Nagash, the supreme lord of the undead. So I'm going to take that as that we're going to be looking at Nighthaunt tomorrow, which is kind of interesting. We'll be interested to see what the ghosts get, because obviously in 2nd edition they were the big bad for about 5 seconds, and then they stopped being the big bad. Kind of like how the Skaven are probably going to stop being the big bad once we're into getting the battle tomes and chaos becomes the big bad again. But yeah, this was the Gitz. Having speaking to a couple of friends who play Gloomspites, the salt isn't that high. There's a couple of things that they've noticed that has kind of reverted back to sort of the 2nd edition version of how that rule worked, when it was like a lot better and easier to do in the 3rd edition. I don't fully understand what they're talking about because I don't play this faction. All I look at this is think it's probably fun that the moon seems to be a little bit easier. Yeah, there's a lot of cool. There's quite some shenanigans with some of the characters. The Loonshrine looks really cool, and Troggoths in Spearhead look quite nice. So yeah, so tomorrow we're going to be looking at ghosts. Really hoping that they show something like the Black Coach. I'll be really interested to see what that's going to be doing in 4th edition. And yeah, we've already seen Nagash, so I can't see us seeing him. So we probably may see one of the Mortarks. So it could be quite interesting. So yeah, it's an exciting time now. I really love this period before we get into the edition. Let the salt flow, which is quite a lot of it online right now about some of the editions. I'm pretty sure once we see the Cities of Sigmar faction focus there'll be a far longer video with a lot of salt. But if you like what I do, please like, subscribe, share, and yeah, check out my members area and my Patreon, and I will see you in the next video, which will be Nighthaunt. Catch you later, peeps. Goodbye.